Hello friends and beautiful people. It is Kathryn and elevated consciousness coach, 5D visionary, and conscious creatrix. And this is the weekly energy check-in for November 17th, 2019. I'm going to grab a sip of water because I realized I'm very parched. It's very dry here in Lake Tahoe. Up in the high Sierras. So how is everybody doing this week? How is everybody holding up with this end of the year crunch that we can sometimes feel that is largely a projection of the kind of hive mind consciousness of society that, we are so heavily pushed to be productive all the time. And yet we end up feeling like we're busy for the sake of being busy, not necessarily driving our lives forward in a favorable way. And this is something that kind of gets impressed upon us from a very early age when we're growing up that, a good human is a productive human. We have to keep going all the time. But this doesn't necessarily serve us very well. And this also tends to culminate at this time of year when we are feeling a lot of shadow as we go into winter solstice, as we go into darkness, as we go into a period of retreat. We are pulling back a little bit, and it's less about being super productive at this time. It's more about incubating. And so that's really kind of the tone of this week's message that I have to share with you guys. And hello to everyone who is watching. Nice to have you here. Thank you. So right before I start, I wanted to say, any of you who have been following me and paying attention to what I have been talking about in Out From Behind the Veil of 3D, Timelines Expanded Masterclass, this next Friday, which is the 22nd of November, will be the last day to get $200 off the price of this masterclass program. It will get you all of the pre-existing 5 modules of the last live round that I taught, but it will also get you into the next live version at no extra cost to you, which will start on mid-January. And I will be officially announcing the date on my website here, on my YouTube channel as well. If you are on my email, you will get a notification about that, about the official date or when we will start the next live round. So that's very exciting, very, very exciting. And this is an opportunity to take part in something where you will be engineering a whole different level of consciousness, elevating your consciousness through learning how to bend, stream, fold, merge, collapse, jump, culminate time, how to opt out of false time and false timelines. There is no other course out there like this. This is really one of a kind. This is an opportunity for you to grow with us as we expand, timelines expanded, as I keep adding new modules. When you join now, you are grandfathered into every subsequent version of this program, which is what I highly recommend to you to get in now and get in on this price, because it's going up to $497 on Saturday. Next time when I teach this in March, there'll be more modules added. It was going up to $777 or more. So I'll have information and links down here, whether you're watching this on my YouTube channel or whether you are watching this on my Facebook page. I will have the information in the comments for you. So shadow time. It's that shadow time of year, isn't it? Hello, everyone who's joining. This is a time for us, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this chat, this is an opportunity at this time of year to unhook from the idea of what must be done or what you didn't do this year. These are survival mode constructs that are kind of impressed upon us from a very young age, that a good human is a busy human. Be in productive mode all the time. Be producing something, be creating something, be doing. Well, that doesn't always work for us because we understand seasons, not only in our external environment, we have seasons of our soul's growth, seasons of our human awakening. And this is very much a time for retreat. And we happen to find ourselves in Mercury retrograde. We're going to be closing that out this week, but we're still going to feel some more shadow from that, some residual energy of Mercury retrograde as that phases out, probably through the first part of next week, like next Monday or so. But this will be a time for you to take everything that you've been incubating and put some things into action, or at least plant some seeds for the year to come. These survival mode constructs of constantly being busy or constantly being productive, they really tend to come to the fore at this time of year. this kind of survival mode construct that's reinforced by hive-mind consciousness, that this kind of pressure from our outer environment, it acts more as an uncomfortable trigger for us than a positive motivator to do something. The real positive motivator that gives us momentum and drive and passion to do something, to create, to be productive, to be busy doing what we love, is really about turning our attention inward and taking a full assessment, a full category, a full inventory of who we are at this stage. We are very different at this part of the year than we were in January. Believe me, we are on an accelerated timeline. Many of us are in culminating timelines where we feel a lot of our 3D history wrapping up in this particular lifetime. A lot of our history is being wrapped up from this year in this particular phase of 2019, where we feel everything's kind of culminating. This is not a time to push into something that feels uncomfortable or that you feel triggered by via your outside environment. This is a time to come together and integrate all parts of self. Pull all parts of you back from wherever you're exploring polarity or duality, exploring other timelines and ways of being where you kind of got into that habit. We've all kind of gotten to this habit sometimes of exploring like all the things that could go wrong. Sometimes we siphon off a lot of our energy in those directions. We're actually living out those timelines concurrently of where those things are going wrong, right alongside our now timeline that you're in right now. Pull those pieces back to you. Allow all those parts, those fragmented, disassociated parts of self to come back into wholeness, and then do a deeper inventory. Where are you? Who are you? What do you want? What are you driven by? What drives you? What lights you up? What brings you passion, excitement, exhilaration? What delights and satisfies you? Don't expect these questions to come from anywhere but outside, or anywhere from outside other than inside yourself. And this is a time, hi Rachel, hi everybody, to really take this inventory. What is your positive motivator for planting the seeds after Mercury retrograde is over, or when you want to mark off, let's say 2020, by taking some bold, inspired action? What are those seeds that you're planting right now? When you let go of this idea of having this kind of external motivator of the rest of the world saying, but you got to do something. The end of the year is closing out. You have to do, produce, be, have. No, I'm inviting you to pull all that back. Just kind of ignore all of the noise outside of the sphere of your desired reality. Okay, and when you do that, when you let go of that, you open up to all that is behind that, or all that is underneath that. So when what didn't happen, or what is yet to do, all that stuff no longer becomes front of mind, you awaken to true vision, true inner vision. This is where your inspiration and your unlimited creativity kind of juxtapose upon themselves and create this beautiful alchemy of creation. Divine inspiration for your creation. This is so important right now. We are really at this jumping off point of 2020, which is a pivot year for many of us. And it's exciting. I mean, some of you can feel this kind of exhilaration building within you already. You have maybe big, bold plans for your future. You are holding a different inner vision for yourself, maybe at this time of year than you did in January or February or even March, or maybe even during the summertime. This is good. This is growth. This is what growth looks and feels like. This is excellent, especially if you are making vastly different choices now than maybe you did before, but it feels right. It feels aligned. Stick with that, okay? Pay close attention to this inspiration coming in now. Take notes. Write everything down. Because I did a live a little while ago, or a post about how you are playing with your multidimensionality, interdimensionality, when you take a thought that exists in the mental matter of the fourth dimension and write it down with pen and paper, bring it into the second dimension. You are making a dimensional jump. Anytime you are making a dimensional jump, you are stretching your consciousness. You are elevating your station of awareness. You are elevating your process, your already accelerated path of ascension. This is good. This is what we want. This is what is desired by many. It shouldn't be something that should scare you to write this stuff down. Sometimes when we write it down, we make it real, we feel like we're going to jinx ourselves, or it's not going to be that way, or we write it down and then we feel like we have to bargain or barter with the universe for it. God, if you'll just give me this, I'll be a good girl next year. All that crap is part of a seriously outmoded way of being, where we feel like we have to dumb down or dim down or barter or bargain for what we want. We are in charge of commanding a reality that we desire, that we prefer. Sit in your power with that at this time. Let that be part of your incubating process at the end of this year as well. Pay close attention to this inspiration coming in. Write it down. Write down ideas. Be a behind-the-scenes facilitator right now of your dreams that you wish to come to pass, that you wish to manifest on the physical plane, okay? Be that behind-the-scenes facilitator of this idea. Be in your playground of the imagination first, and really let that expand. Let that incubate. Let that take hold of you and just kind of blossom outward. You may be surprised at what comes in, something that maybe you had never even thought about before, something you'd never even explored before, something you dared not even think before. This is where we're at this stage of ascension. It is not a scary time, it is an exciting time, because we are birthing new possibilities that we could not even wrap our minds around before with a more limited sphere of consciousness, okay? So as you're playing in this playground of your imagination, then plan and vow to yourself to take some bold action on it. Plant the seeds now in the fertile ground and the retreat mode of this upcoming winter solstice that we're going to find ourselves in next month. We're already feeling this take hold, on a visceral level. We feel like we are in, the robe or the cloak of winter. This is good, because this is a time where we are really aligned with letting that true inner vision that I talked about to develop, to really develop and blossom. This time of the winter darkness is where you not only let that develop and blossom, but you have more of a sense of trust with it. Because the longer you sit with that inner vision, the longer you play with it, the longer you dialogue with it, the longer you write things down that come in from that, being in that space, holding that frequency, the more you learn to trust that inner vision. And only when we trust do we take the real bold action, yes? So trust what you're seeing. Trust what comes into your inner vision, your inner knowing. It's there for a reason. It's coming into your awareness for a reason, okay? Trust that, trust that. And as you hold this space for your inner vision to unfold, things may appear to change form right before your eyes, okay? Be prepared for that. Don't be scared by it. Remember, this is not a time to be in fear. This is a time to be in excitement for what is coming. So as you're holding this inner vision of what you hope to be, or maybe you're just holding the frequency of how it feels, and you're just kind of allowing that inner vision to kind of take on its own life, to take on its own direction or trajectory, you may see things change in form right before your eyes, seeing layers shed. This is an unfolding that's happening for many of us, an unfurling, a disentanglement, we could say, a detangling. But all that allows for more self-acceptance to come in. All of this allows for more self-love to come in for where you are in this journey. As we're feeling this crunch time at the end of the year, and we're feeling those outside pressures triggering us into a place where we feel uncomfortable, and we feel like we have to take some action, any action, that is not inspired action. When you are triggered by some outside environmental factor to do something in a way that feels out of alignment with you, you might as well just do nothing at all, because it has the same impact. We kind of fool ourselves, or even society helps us to be fooled in thinking that taking action allows us to be productive. We're doing something. We're not just here taking up space. I'm inviting you to just take up space. I'm giving you permission to use the rest of this year to just take up space. But taking up space means going into that place of your soul matrix where everything is connected. All of the answers that you're looking for, all of those problems you want to solve, the solutions are there in the stillness, in that place of incubation, in the silence. Trust it. The longer you sit with that place within you, the longer you will trust it, or the more evidence you'll have where you can trust it, I should say. Take heart for what feels like grief as you are unshackling from, untangling from, unhooking from the old you, and moving out of stagnancy. We can have feelings that mimic grief for lost parts of self. This is normal. It's okay. But don't get seduced by that to a place of inaction where you won't even let your imagination run wild, where you won't even be in this incubation period where you're kind of planting the seeds. Don't be in this fear or this kind of mimicked sense of grief that this kind of loss of self, this shedding of self, this untangling, unhooking from the old you can sometimes bring into your awareness. It's not real, and it does pass. You can sit with it, let it be, let it have its say. Don't try to force it down or avoid it, but just let it flow in and just as easily let it flow out. It's a normal part of our growth process. Accept it. Allow more self-acceptance and more self-love as you are at this stage of the journey. Take heart that, you are also in a place where you may feel regret, you may feel remorse for this loss of self, but do take heart. You are leaving behind the small view in your rear view mirror. And you are really opening up to a much more expansive view on the road ahead. So what feels like a big release or cleanse or purge, it's really just that small view that you have when you look in your rear view mirror and you see the world behind you as it's streaming past. Our lives are kind of like the same way. But when you look straight ahead and you look through the windshield, you have this expanded view of what is ahead. Eyes on the prize, my dears. Eyes on the prize. So I want to wish all of you so much love and peace. I hope this message really hit home for you. As I sat and I crafted this message today, it really hit home for me, and there was a little bit of waterworks. Maybe some of you are feeling the same way. I often get very emotional at this time of year as we wrap things up, as we kind of bring things to culmination. But that's a purge too. That is a release as well. And that could be that grief that you're feeling for that loss of self. Let the waterworks come if they need to. You'll feel better afterwards. I did. So love and peace to you all. Bye-bye.